What's the clap do?
I think
That's your action.
audio and action.
Is it gonna be like a big clap or like a little bitchy clap?
Like a big one.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
What happens now?
No.
Did I just fuck it? Did I just fuck it? Or was it recording?
Alright.
If that was recording, we definitely need bloopers.
Yeah.
Alright.
That was take one.
Fuck. Can't wait until we get to 83.
Alrighty, so whenever you're ready, just start and that camera now.
Thank you, Mark. Beautiful. 2, 3. Welcome to Truth Be Told. My name's AJ. I'm your host. Today we've got with us. Fuck, restart.
3 seconds.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about today we've got with us. Because Keith said don't introduce your name first. It was after. Man's had a very colourful. Would you say colourful life? How would you describe yourself?
Just a normal.
You haven't had a normal life. You were bouncing in the class for 12 years. How the fuck are you gonna have a normal life?
You're the man, mate. You're the man.
Alright, let's do this. Welcome to Truth Be Told. My name's AJ. I'm your host. Today I got with me someone who's lived quite, like in my view, quite a colourful life so far. Shocked that he's only 16, so he's very young. He started off playing football when he was younger, Premier League, made it to pretty much close to the top of the top. Right before he was about to trial for the top, he got a hammy injury. And then from, oh, fuck, that's,
This is gonna be
that's fuck. You know what, roll it. He got a hammy injury. From there, he,
I'll go from quiet.
Go from the start.
no, we're going to continue rolling.
Just go quiet and then start.
No, it's truth be told, we're still rolling. We're gonna use that as well.
Yeah, use that, but start from ham injury, but like.
Yeah,
and then-
just
like
roll on from ham injury.
No, I don't want to edit it. I want to roll like that.
Alright.
It's raw. This should be told. Alright. He got a hammy injury. So I wouldn't know that. I've never played sports, so I don't really know. But he got a hammy injury, which pretty much led him into security at King's Cross Notorious Trademark, where he ran that for 11 years. He was in the VIP room. He later on went into, stayed in security, but also did personal protection for a lot of celebrities, including Chris Brown, 50 Cent, Cole Sandilands, and multiple others. Known Stan for quite a few years now, also myself. I've never watched him knock out anyone. Shocked. That's a lie. But
I don't like fighting, bro.
very non-violent person. Tongan Stan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, mate.
So, this is the first one, so really we're pretty much getting our groove. But we'll start off with, you, where you grew up, what got you to where you are today, and we'll just fucking vibe out of life.
Where I grew up. So I was born in Tonga, in the small island Tonga. I was adopted when I was 3 years old by my cousin or auntie. I don't really know my family trees that well.
Yeah.
They brought me here to Australia when I was 9 years old, and I ended up going to school and playing football. So I ended up staying here. So and I just went from there.
What was that like? So where'd you grow up here in Sydney? So when you came, so you were 3 when you came, you were adopted at 3. When did you come over to Sydney?
I was 9 years old when I came to Sydney. I was I grew up I was a Belmore boy.
Right.
So I started
Bulldog supporter?
always, mate, always. I was a big Bulldog supporter when
Go to Roosters.
yeah. Yeah.
What was that like growing up in Belmore back then?
It was, for me, growing up was good, but for me personally, it was hard, because people asking about my family and that, it was a difficult story to tell, because with being adopted and that, and I was a bit worried about what people would think, and as a young Tongan kid being here, not knowing any English at all. So when I first came here, first went to school and that, primary school and that, the only word I knew was yes or no. That was it.
Wow.
So I pretty much got chucked in the deep end. So it was hard. It was hard being the only kid that doesn't know English at all.
And at home, did they speak Tongan, obviously fluent Tongan,
Yep.
but like, did they speak any English or was it just?
Yeah, my little sisters and that, they spoke, they weren't there back then, so no one was speaking English. I had my auntie's husband who was Aussie, so that was the English in the house. He was the
And
one.
did you feel like you belonged in that family?
To me,
You may we're gonna edit everything out.
yeah, the family. I don't care. The family thing. It's hard for me because growing up, I always felt like that I was rejected by my biological parents, and by the way, that's something that I've kept to myself for a long time, and never spoke about it, or except for with my missus, and it was hard for me to talk about it because of all the judgment from pretty much both sides of the families. Yeah, to me, it was hard. It was hard. Trying to, like, when people ask me about my family and that, like, who's your sister and that, it was hard for me to explain it. Because,
especially being young too.
Yeah.
So you don't have that emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's it.
Fuck.
And, yeah, it was growing up. And, yeah, growing up was pretty hard as well, but I kept it to myself. I was never one of those person that would actually come out and express my feelings and tell you straight up, like, this is what I'm feeling. Nah. I've always kept it to myself, and I think that's something that I've regretted growing up, just keeping things to myself and not openly talking about it.
Have you learned from the now, but?
100%, I have learned from
me.
it. So, yeah, look, I know a lot of young kids out there, especially island kids. Like island adoption is not easy, because you pretty much just, here you go, that's it, done. And
No certificates, no
nothing at all. So, yeah, it's not easy. And me trying to keep it to myself was pretty, like, right now, I think it was pretty selfish. I could have just came out with it and eventually help other kids and tell them it's all right. Talk about it. Talk to your family about it. Say what you got to say, because it does make life easier when you actually open up. And because back then, when I was younger, I pretty much drifted off, and I wanted to, go down that road where you commit suicide.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. That was like life. Life was good. I can't complain at all. My parents and that they loved me. All my family loved me. I was treated well in that. There was nothing wrong. But it's just that thought in my head that I was rejected.
Yeah.
And every little thing that people would, like, as soon as they say no to something, that just triggers.
All that emotion,
Yeah.
you get it back up.
It comes back up, and it's just, you got nowhere to release it. So that was pretty much back then. Me releasing it was me trying to take that step.
Would you use football as would you say football was like your therapy?
Football, yeah, pretty much. Football was good for me because it was a place where I can release my anger without getting into trouble. So smashing people and stuff like that was something that I really loved. Yeah, it was. To be honest, it was the only time that I can let go of my anger. Because every little fight in that field, I was the first one into it. I was the first one to be there, no matter what. If it's got nothing to do with me, I'm the first one in that fight. And my wife.
That was like your expression. That was the way you'd like, I've got all this built up. Fuck, let's go.
Yeah.
It's on.
These guys are my teammates. As soon as you stuff up, I'm there. So until I didn't realise that at that time. But growing up, like at this age now, looking back at it, it was pretty much the shit that I kept to myself. And if I've actually had the balls to actually speak out and talk about it, it would have been much different.
You know what? I think here now, everything leads you up to this point in your life. I mean,
100%.
I know you were telling me before you want to get into youth work and you want to like go down that road. And I mean, I'm sure people that will watch this and listen to like how you literally just were and go like, fuck, that might inspire someone to be like, you know what, I got this and this pent up. Let me just express it.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I told you what I do for work. You'll be so when you I run adult stores, so I'm a manager for one of the stores. But the thing is, when you're in that store, you don't realize, because you got two things in life where you can be completely honest. You got a confession box.
Yeah.
People go to, but let's be real. When they go to a confession box, they're not going to say exactly everything they want to say. You got a guy in an adult store, adult boutique, but in an adult store, who they know have full confidentiality agreements. I'm not going to say, like, if someone comes in, they'll tell me their life story. I'm not going to go out in the street. You'll be surprised how much lighter people walk out when they sit there for an hour and just getting it all off their chest. And then you completely, when my first couple of experiences with that, completely changed my life, because I'm like, fuck, people should really just sit there and just express themselves, because
I think people these days are just too used to worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
Because there is a shitload of people out there just sitting back and just doing nothing but judging people. And even the worst thing is when it comes from family and friends.
That's the hardest.
That's the hardest part.
And that's where the majority of it comes from.
Yeah, when it comes from people that you trust.
Because they're so close to you, so it's there for them, their bloodline. Like, we know that family can do no harm.
Yeah.
So they think that, fuck, they'll say this, and this. Because we're family, it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
but
true.
They don't, like you said, they don't realise that's where it actually stings the most.
100%. That's the worst part, is when the judgment comes from people that you actually trust and they're actually in your circle. So, me back then, I think with trusting, I trusted too much. I don't like judging people. I like to just take them in, help them out and do whatever until they stuff me up. And then, I don't know, sometimes I'll just...
Do you have that violent side? When they fuck you up?
Not that, it's just, it hurts. I think everything just takes me back to being a kid, being rejected. I think that's pretty much all my anchor in that comes from that. So every little thing that triggers me, that's the first thing I think about. Is why? Why was I the one that was giving up after, like, out of all my sisters and brothers? I got one brother and two sisters.
Have you ever
my real family.
Have you ever gone back to find those answers?
No.
Would you ever?
I did ask once. I went back, for the first time I went back to Tonga in 24 years, was the end of last year. I had a sit down with my biological dad.
Wow.
And because to me, if people give me up, or people if they reject me, I'm done. I'll cut you off no matter what. And I asked him, because they used to call me, I've never seen them since I came here. Never spoken to them at all. And they used to come to Australia, my mum and my brother, and they knew that I had kids, but they've never come to see my kids. So to me that's a big F you. Like, we don't give a shit about you. And then out of the blues they call me up asking for cash, which is a Tongan. They ask for money, and
that's a great thing too.
Yeah, so
don't worry.
It really hurts. But for a guy like me, with all the stuff that I do, I gotta pretty much put it behind me and not show it.
Do you have that conflict of so now I get it sometimes. I get the conflict of, fucking fuck you, you're gonna do that to me, go fuck yourself. But then the big heart comes in and you're like, fuck, maybe if I just help this one time.
I think that's the bad thing with me. Like, I act like I'm the tough guy, that I would cut you off no matter what, but eventually I would come back and go...
They creep, they're slow.
Eventually I would come back and you're back in my life. So I think that's a thing that I'm working at the moment, is to actually speak up before things get too messy.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Set boundaries, which I don't do.
Right. But I think I think you're right. Boundaries are significantly important because, you know, like you said, people with big hearts like yourself, and probably over your experience with years, you see the same pattern happen. You help, they take it for granted, you cut them off, and then they come back.
Yeah.
Help, then they come back.
1,000 times.
Man, I didn't speak to my old man for 3 years, and then he messaged me out of the blue. You know, the whole pretty much like, you know, I love you, blah blah. And through that whole time with Keith, that's when I first met Keith. When the first year that he essentially left, and then I stopped drinking, I didn't talk to him, blah blah. And then when he came back, I'm like, fuck, you know, this can go two ways. You can either be like a repeat of last time, or we can put healthy boundaries in place, and then we create it new.
Yeah, I think when it comes to family, sometimes there's a hole that you wanna fill, and pretty much you just let your guards down when it comes to that, and I think I've done that a lot of time, and
every time you tell yourself fuck never again,
and shit just happens again.
You know,
but that's pretty much what brought me to the man I am today. So
exactly,
I've got no regrets with that.
I think everything in your life, you know, there's this thing that I love. It's don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a hard one.
Yeah.
You know, because if you think about it, like if we just had a fucking easy life, we'd sit there, we'd do fuck all, we'd do nothing, we'd do fuck all with our lives. Whereas, you know, when you're in the eye of the storm, when everything's fucked up going on around you, you're like, fuck, man, like fuck, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But you know, as you mature, as you go, you get through those storms. Because look, no storm stays.
Yeah.
No storm stays. No issue stays. There's people with emotional issues as well, but those issues will never stay either, because you know you just gotta sit there and be like, fuck, okay, I can either sit here and mellow in that and just not move the needle, or I'll be like, you know what, I can sit there and I can resolve it and then go where it's thinking. Like I can see with you've sat there and you've pretty much, you know, bit by bit, tick by tick, life experience by life experience, you've come to a sense where you've resolved and you've understood it.
I've sat there for a long time thinking that there's no point moving forward at all. But lucky for me, I got my kids. That's the one thing that drives me. My kids and my wife is the main thing that keeps me going, pretty much. So I had no choice but to move forward.
How many kids?
I got 4. So 2 boys, 2 girls.
Man, it's good to balance each other out.
Yeah, the two.
Boys look after the girls, and the girls keep the boys smart.
They're all 1 week apart, so their birthdays.
What, the birthdays? That's probably the shittest time of the year. There you go.
There's nothing good on TV at that time, so.
And you know what, but I think...
Look, I believe 100% that things happen for a reason. So whatever's happened back on the days or when I was younger, it's brought me here. If it didn't happen, I wouldn't be here at all.
Do you feel like what you went through has made you a better dad?
Yeah, 100%. It makes me think that before, like, not to put them through what I've gone through. 100%.
That's your question.
Like, even though I make mistakes in that.
That's your question. Do you... Here's my thought process on it. You don't like we don't want no one to go through, like, as everyone. I think as empathetic people, we don't want no one to go through what we've experienced. No one wants to go through our pain. But do you feel like in life you have to go through those certain things to get to that level of understanding, level of maturity?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, you can't always have it easy.
Yeah.
You have it easy, you're pretty much just on that same spot. You gotta pretty much make mistakes, or something happened to you and you learn from that one thing, and then try again and then do it differently. So that's what I've taken out from it, is whatever's happened, I've learned. Just learn from it and not repeat that mistake.
Because I got you on social media, you can tell you're the good dad, you're the doting dad, you're the scary. Fucking look at my kid, I'll knock your teeth in, dad. But, you know, if you're my dad, definitely I'll be in the schoolyard starting arguments with every fucking big.
That's actually my wife that does that. I'm actually the one that stays back.
Yeah, if I was your wife, I'd be starting arguing with everyone. Someone cuts me, yeah, what? What's up, fuck, call my husband.
Yeah, then I'll come with the end.
You're fucked. Well, back to football. So we know that you use football to pretty much deal with your anger and stuff. What were you like? Because I know that you got a hammy injury right before you were pretty much going to make it pro, essentially in Australian terms, make it pro. How'd you feel then? What was that like? How old were you?
I was 19. So my wife, which was my girlfriend back then, was pregnant with our first son at the time.
What was the thought process of that as well?
Then I'm fucked. Pretty much. Because that was where my money was coming from. It wasn't much back then, but football was
an income.
Yeah, it was the income, and that's all I knew. I didn't know how to work. I didn't know nothing. I never went to class, never done anything in class, which was I was pretty much fucked. So when I got injured, I ended up having to get a job, and football wasn't in the picture anymore. I had to work and look after my missus and my kid. That's all I had to do. And football wasn't even a part of it. Did you go straight into security? No, I started off in construction, and then a few mates of mine said, "Why don't you come do the course with us and do security?" So I said, "Yeah, sweet." So I done the course, and I ended up doing security as a second job.
Yeah. And
started off I had 1 year working at Cronulla at Fusion, and that's where I first started.
Yeah, fucking Fusion's the home of all good things come out of Fusion. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. So we had a little incident at the front door, so I had to leave.
Do you remember your first fight on the job?
I don't like fighting, man.
Do you remember your first altercation?
I've had yeah, kind of. It was pretty much. It was at the cross. So the incident that happened,
Trademark?
The incident that happened at Cronulla was another guard, but I was with the guard at that time at the front door, and I just had to leave. So I ended up calling my uncle. So I rang Tongan Stan, and I spoke to him and said I needed a job. So he goes, "Just meet me at the cross."
Yeah.
Now, when I was a kid, I was always told by all my uncles, if we ever see you at the cross, we're going to give you a hiding and send you back home.
Including Sam?
Yeah. So stick to football. So that was the main thing that I was known for in my family and everyone else was football. So for me, ringing him up and asking him for a security job was a bit of a surprising for him, I think. And then it just went from there.
And you were so you stayed at Trademark the whole time?
Yeah.
In the golden, where everyone looks at like the golden mile, the golden age, where everyone's like.
It was the best nightclub in the cross back then. It was the best spot. So.
And you ran the VIP room?
Yeah, I pretty much ran the inside of the venue and had a few other boys running the front door.
You must have seen some interesting things.
Yeah, I think back then there was a lot of interesting things at the cross. There was a lot of stuff going on at the cross back then. You definitely got to see a lot of stuff going on at the cross. So, but it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as what the media showed it as. So
that's like a coronavirus now. It's not even that bad as what they're saying.
No, not at all. I don't believe in that crap at all.
No.
I think they're the worst out of everything. So
my view is like, for example, now let's say I fall down the stairs and my knees like it hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much In my head, I'm going, it's fine, yeah? But I got you telling me, fuck, that looks fucked. That's fucked. It's gonna happen. In my head,
it's a
I'm gonna
feeling.
cultivate, I'm gonna fuck, you know, he's been saying it's fucked. So what's happening with this whole thing?
Yeah, that's
And
it.
that's another.
There's a different whole. We're gonna get all night
that
for
one's gonna
that.
get me in trouble. Back to the cross. Now, I was in nightclubs for a bit, so I know that you see some interesting things. But you were pretty much. What was it like with working with, you know, some of the most pretty much prominent figures in Australian nightlife? I mean, John Ibrahim, Tongan Stan.
With the boys and that, with the like back to the media, with the media telling like the picture that the media draws of them, that's completely different to the guys that I know. John, he was the best boss I've ever had. I would work for him no matter what, and he would come out and give every single staff a handshake, saying hello, how's your day. Like, you don't see any boss doing that.
He was a leader.
He was a leader. He was up front, no matter what. And he was a great businessman. Like, a young kid running clubs and that back in his days, that's a great businessman. So that's one guy I look up to in business-wise. And I would work for him no matter what.
You know what? People don't realize. You know, obviously they see. You're right. They see all the negatives, but the one thing that like actually like intrigues me and interests me the most, and actually I admire him the most about it. I mean, of course the fucking, you know, the women, the partying and all that. Like, you know, anyway, leave that. But the work ethic, man. I mean,
he works his ass off.
Yeah. What do you reckon? 80, 90-hour weeks.
Man, he was there every night that we were on at the club. He was there, he would stay out for the whole night, check on every venue, on every guard, see if they were alright for the whole night. So if you can give me any other boss that would come out and hang out with their staff and shake their hands, say hi and check on how their day is going, I'll put my head down for them.
You learn a lot from him?
I've learned a shitload from him. So that's definitely one guy that I look up to in business.
Yeah, but then again, like you said, the media, you know,
the media has to sell stories.
If you have common sense, you realise, you get an understanding of how people are. And it's like we were talking about it before. You know, when you've done security, when you've worked nightclubs, when you've worked things, you get an understanding of how people are. You can tell that the media just blows it up.
Yeah, that's it. Like even the stuff that happened at the cross that ended up bringing out the lockout. That was a load of crap.
Yeah.
Like I've seen worse stuff happen. Like I'm not putting anything on what actually happened, but I've seen worse stuff happen in the cross than that.
You know, truth be told, so I'm going to press you until you turn it. But yeah, nah. You got to give me a couple crazy experiences in 11 years. I mean, in 11 years, you would have seen. I mean, I know you're telling me about having an argument with Chris Brown's bouncers, or I've seen American security. Like you scared. Like seeing you in the street scares me, but seeing American security, they look like they ate 5 of you.
They're massive boys, man. They're big boys. And
So what happened? What happened that time? 'Cause I think John talks about it in the book as well.
Yeah, it was one night we had Chris Brown doing a show at the venue, and he rocked up. I think people were paying $40 to $50
Back then too.
to get into the venue, and he rocked up because he stayed in the VIP room. He brought with him he had 2 bodyguards and his crew, and then he had three or 4 massive big chicks to stand in front of him so no one can take photos and no one can see him at all.
It's very smart in the sense that you can get guys, you got girls.
Yeah, but like you had
wanker.
The people was packed, the venue was packed, and everybody wanted to see him, get a photo, whatever, and he had nothing to do with it at all. And then his bodyguard decided to run through the crowd and knock people over, and I was there with John at the venue in the VIP room, and I think it was just time for us to just send him out. So we ended up kicking him and his whole crew out. He wouldn't even take a photo with anyone at all, not even John. So he would, out of all the celebs that I've met and helped out, he would be the hardest one out of all of them. So
who do you reckon's the nicest? Who do you reckon is the funnest and the nicest that you've experienced that come through the clubs?
What's his name? Shefu. What's his name again?
RedFoo?
RedFoo. Shefu.
Same, it's not food.
Cut that out.
They're cousins.
RedFoo was he was the best. He had to laugh with everyone and he was normal. Like he didn't care about anything, but he was good.
I think that's what I've learned my experience with the celebrities. When you treat them normal,
Yeah.
they're normal.
Yeah.
When you treat them as if they're bigger than the earth, that's when they fucking treat you like that. That's when this is wankers.
Man, you just gotta, with celebs, you always expect the opposite.
You cut them open. You can't make them open like not like hold on. I'm not on a fucking purge or anything. Like, but I mean, we all bleed the same blood.
That's it.
They all came from the same humble beginnings. They're all like they're human beings. I think they respect you more if you actually talk to them like a human being as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck, that's the cross man in its heyday.
Yeah, there was some. I'll give you a few crazy.
Mate, don't be shy. Truth be told.
And I was seeing a few kids when the kids got shot by cops. I was there at that time.
That's like. I think I need a drink for that one.
It was a experience. It was different, and there was another time where
What they shooting?
I think they stole a car from out west. It was on the news.
Out west?
Out west, and then they were driving.
Out west is a very legitimate area, but I don't know what that's very uncommon to hear that someone stole a car out west. I've never heard of that before. But
You live out there?
no.
No, they ended up driving up on the footpath and hitting people. So they ended up just shooting the driver and that. And I was there helping getting them out of the car. So it was
what was that like? That would have been traumatic for you.
I don't know. At the time, it was just blood was going.
Do you feel like when situations like that happen, you get that adrenaline rush?
I get that adrenaline.
I feel like your life is just a constant adrenaline rush.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think I like that. Like when things, I get bored easily. So if I try things out once and I don't like it, I'll never try it again.
It's going to be his last podcast ever, so let's just please keep in mind. First, only exclusive podcast ever.
Yeah, it's just back then I never liked doing new things. So whatever gives me that friggin' blood flowing experience, I like that.
Security does that for you?
Security does that for me, and yeah, I love the job. So
I feel like I think like anything in life, you have to love it for you to dedicate it and actually become good in it.
yeah,
I mean, like you've been in the industry for years. You know that guards chop and change venues left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
But to stay, but I think again that comes down to, like you said, having a good boss as well.
yeah,
To stay at the same venue for 11 years through everything that
there's a lot of shit.
You're at Sydney's most prominent, popular venue, and to deal with all this shit, and then you would have seen all the celebrities, all the girls. Man, I would love to be in your eyes just for.
Trust me, it wasn't that.
Living. Yeah, I know you get your you get the one supermodel, and then the. Look, I'm gonna be very, very professional. Anyway, we're gonna have another conversation. That's a private conversation between me and you. But the 11 years of that. What do you reckon those 11 years? I mean, I know what you learned from John, but what do you reckon those 11 years being on the job? Was it just Saturday nights or Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Back then, I was doing Tuesday, Thursday,
Fuck man, that's when Sydney.
Friday, Saturday, and I was doing my day job at the same time.
Can I ask you, how did that, like I know you have to, like we were talking about, you got to support, you got to work for your family. Did that have a strain on family life?
It did at the start with me and my missus. It definitely did. Especially going from football to clubs where there's a lot of people and, as you said, girls and that. And it definitely...
I think the hours too, man. I mean, like, I remember I used to work Saturday nights. The next Sunday, don't talk to me. Don't fucking call me until 3 p.m.
Yeah, I think it's just, I loved it. So it didn't really bother me. So, because I was doing my day job during the day and then going straight to night and then back to day and then back
When did you sleep?
I had 1 or 2 days. I had naps on my smoker break.
Mate, all the greatest men in history now.
But I definitely can't do it back. I can't do that now.
Yeah, but you only,
Getting old, mate. Getting
you
old.
were 16 back then. Now you're only 23. You're good.
I wish, bro. I wish I was.
But man, hey, but props because to be able to like the 4 or 5 nights a week go through that. Also, from an actual physical point of view, your body with the constant adrenaline rushes that zaps the energy out of you. So like, man, big props, man. Big props, big fucking props, hey. Cause like, and construction too.
Yep.
I used to have to fucking have a 3-hour power nap just for a 6 hour Saturday night. And it's when you get doing that, like.
So yeah, I was going straight from work home, get changed, and the boys will pick me up to go to construction work, and then come back, have about an hour or 2 hour nap, and then back to night. So it was definitely fun times back then. Like trying it now, it's definitely not that fun.
Do you feel like Sydney's nightlife's changed?
100%.
It's different, eh?
100%. It's fucked. It's definitely different. I feel sorry for all the kids, all the young ones that doesn't get to experience it. All because a few people up there didn't like it, so didn't get anything out of it. So yeah.
Do you reckon we'll ever get back to those golden ages?
I reckon if we ever do, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, because I think everyone now they're programmed to not. I mean, I got the golden era for about 2 years, and I remember like, mate, you start at 7 at night, and then you go all the way to 6 the next morning. You get a feed at 6, and then you go to bed.
It was good feeds too back then.
Yeah, like
in the course.
Man, anything. But also back then, shit would pop off for no reason, just fucking anywhere, and you're like, fuck. You'd always have you couldn't walk by yourself. There's little elements of it where you're like, fuck.
I think.
And then one girl was like fucking 5 cunts girlfriends. It's 5 blokes from different areas. It's like, that's my missus, that's my. That bloke said that he was in me, so he wants to fight you, and then he wants to like. The cross back then was fucking. It was an animal.
It was fun. We had some fun times, but it wasn't always fun. It definitely wasn't always fun.
Tell me, what wasn't fun about it? What was the non-fun times? You don't, like you said, you don't like violence. So how would you cover? Or you're just being sarcastic like me? Shock.
I don't like violence, but if it's there, I would go for it.
Yeah, like you said with football as well.
Yeah, that's it. If it's there and if it's... I don't like throwing the first punch.
I've never seen you ever in my life.
I'll never throw the first punch.
I watched...
So if you're going to throw a punch at me, knock me out first one.
I just want to put on the record, I've actually watched Stan knock someone out. I'm putting it on the record. I have video footage too, so if he wants to contest it,
I've got no idea what he's talking about.
I'm more than happy to put in the edits. Please.
Just give me his address after this, say.
Yeah, I live in Manly.
No.
Do you find like you said how football was a release for you? Did you find when you did get into those altercations, that was a release as well of anger?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel.
Or did it keep your mind? You just kind of like just kept the beast at bay.
I think I like that. I like being the good guy.
Yeah.
I got that drive about fixing the drama. I like being that guy, and yeah, it was just there was a few times that. Well,
actually, I remember watching. You're right. I remember being at the wharf at where were we? Cargo bar.
Yeah.
I just got to cargo bar. That's when you're on what's it called? See there?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm walking down. I see Bits, and then all of a sudden I see you, but you're talking. But the funny thing, I'm like, this doesn't look normal because you got some kind of headlock like this, and you have to.
That's not true.
Yeah, how you going? Yeah, okay. Because I can understand what you mean about being politically correct.
I like being that guy, being the hero.
Yeah.
I want to be that hero to stop it, if I can. But not all cases. I had to. There's a few that I had to actually be physical. And
have you had a lot of experience where you have that the one guy who portrays that he's a tough guy, but then you know the ones that get very lippy, like I swear to God, I think someone told me they're going to shoot me three different occasions.
Yeah.
They come to the front, I'm going to fucking shoot you, I'm going to come with a Glock, you're done. And I'll just sit there like...
I love that shit. It's fun for me when it just gets my blood boiling. It's just, I don't know, I just love it for some reason until it happens and go, oh, what the fuck?
Have you ever been shot at?
I've almost been stabbed.
At the cross?
At the cross.
What was that experience like?
It was a fight between two groups in the VIP room, and the venue got shut down for that night.
No metal detectors back then?
There was, but apparently he had a little freaking knife on his belt, on his buckle, behind his buckle. So they ended up jumping a kid in the VIP room. So I jumped in. I was the first one in there. I pulled the kid out, and the group that was fighting him, I tried to push them back, but I didn't realise one of their guys was coming around the other side with the knife, and he went for the stab. And lucky I pushed the kid back like that. Like he copped it.
He got the stab?
He got it. But if I had him like that, he would have got both of us. Because I had him like this first, and then I pushed him back to push everybody back.
Wow.
And as soon as I pushed him back, that knife came through. And
so people don't realise that security.
Security is not all fun.
Nah.
Like, people think that they can come into the job and it's relaxing and there's nothing happens. You just go there, work, make your money, that's it. It doesn't work like that.
No. I mean, look, there's a guy at not a local bar, like one in the city, but like a very low key, like corporate bar.
Yeah.
He didn't let a banker in, and then the banker came in and King hit him, and then he was paralyzed paralyzed after. Do you know, people don't realize how actually dangerous it is.
It is a dangerous job, and people do not realise that. Even guards, they think that it's an easy job, easy way to make money.
With guards and they love it. And they look for it.
And when shit happens, they're nowhere to be found. So
I've seen those guards too.
I've had a few of those
Yeah,
working
those
with me as well.
At the start, I'm fucking ready. I'm ready. And then
I'm ready to punch on and that.
Hey! What the fuck are you doing over there? Come in.
Yeah, I've worked with a few guys like that, and it's definitely an eye-opening.
Is it disappointing in the sense that, because like you said, John's made you like, you see all the photos, all the old photos, and even in all the news, you see all the old photos of John, and you've posted photos and all that stuff. You can tell it's very team orientated.
Yeah.
So again, it's like coming back to a football team as well. It's like if one of us goes in, we all go.
That's it. That's pretty much my mentality. Is with anything I do, whoever I got around me, if anything happens to one, we're all in.
That's family.
That's how it goes.
It's like a domino.
Yeah, like you try and talk it out if you can, but if anything happens to one of my group, or especially when I'm the head guard,
yeah,
like I expect the same thing from the guards as well. So if anything happens to me, I want them in there, first one in there, and I've told my guards that. So if you're if I check the footage, and you're the one that was running, you better keep running.
Yeah.
Because that ain't gonna be fun between me and you. And to be honest, it's...
You are on truth be told.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Like, I'll cover their back if they cover mine. No matter what.
I think you're right. It's disappointing when when you see it. Especially, I think back then, I reckon it would have been a little bit different because, again, at the top of your head, there's no like political correctness. Like, fuck, is there a camera there?
Yeah.
Can I get away with that? Can I do this? Can I do that? Whereas now it's like there's a fucking camera on every little.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I never.
Not like that. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Shock. But yeah, no. Now, you went from. Well, you still do your stints in clubs and stuff, but you went from clubs to personal protection. Now, 50 Cent. What was that like?
That was a great experience actually. He was.
Is he like he is on?
No, he's not what everybody expects.
Again,
I expected a big gangster. As soon as I met him, he'll be like this gangster, talking shit and being a hard cunt, which he wasn't. He was a businessman.
Gentleman.
gentleman. Like he didn't talk much, but when he talked, he was teaching me, and he was he's one of those guys that wanted you to go forward instead of staying on the same spot or moving back. He the first time I spoke to him, well, I didn't actually talk to him. He was talking to his group, Uncle Murder and Tony Yeo and that, and just listening to him was an experience. And he was talking about how like a few years ago he actually told him that he was going to make this happen. And I think the one thing that I remembered about what he said was everything that you see was somebody's idea. So every idea that you have, you got to push for it. Take all those little steps and push for it. Because if no one took those ideas and made moves with it, you wouldn't see nothing. Nothing would be out.
It's
It would be a whole different world. So
you'd think that from someone who's fucking drills everyone on social media.
That's it.
Some level of like he's got game. I mean, again, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in if it wasn't for his savviness.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think sometime in life you just got to you got to also have that different person in you. So sometimes you got to make things happen, and you got to be a whole different person. You can't always be that same person to do all these different things. It's never going to happen.
I think you got to, yeah, you're right.
You got to adapt to that situation, and I think he did. Every situation that he's been through, he adapted.
And do you find it like, is it a significant difference between doing security at nightclubs and doing personal, like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer doing clubs? Like if I said to you, you can go back to your trademark heydays for 5 years, or you can go be 50 Cent's bodyguard for 5 years.
I love the bodyguarding.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's more of a drive that every time you're with that client, you're always on that, your mind is always going and you're always on the lookout. So I like that, not knowing what's going to happen.
Do you feel like they have that security, like in Australia, do you feel like they have that security risk where they really, like, other than like, you know, the annoying fans? I mean, if I was 50 Cent and I had a bunch of girls come up to me and say, let's have an orgy, I'd definitely want a bodyguard to be like, please stop, just be respectful. Like, that's me personally, I'm a gentleman. But like, you know, like, do you know what I mean? Do you think they need that, like, where they're going to have some fuckwit try something or something like that?
I think there's always that risk.
Yeah.
Because, to be honest, we don't know what's in people's mind.
Yeah, true.
And there's a lot of fuckwits out there. And
Can confirm. Can confirm. Can confirm.
Especially people with their status, there's always someone out there that wants to put their name out. I think that's pretty much it. Like with anyone that's up there on that ladder that you want to climb, you always want to try and get your name out there. So you're gonna do something to get your name out there, no matter what.
Yeah, true.
So
that's like, you're right. That's with anything, you know.
Yeah.
I think. That's right.
That's the only way to climb that ladder. If you want to get to the top of that ladder,
you gotta make a name for yourself.
You gotta make a name for yourself, no matter what.
It's fuck bodyguarding, man. And any crazy stories?
Bodyguarding wise, not really. I'm glad that nothing's happened with any of my clients or any of my gigs. But one thing that I want to tell people is, like, most people think that it's the best job, it's the best life. It's not.
No, because you're away from
You're pretty much away from your family, and you gotta love being by yourself, your own company, because most of the time you're by yourself. And when you're with clients, you take your client to point A, and then bring them back to point B.
So let's say for example, because I know you're big on personal development and stuff like that. Let's say, for example, you got to drop 50 off to a hotel meeting, a proper meeting. Everyone please get their mind out of the gutter. I'm not talking about anything like that. But a proper meeting, and you got to sit there for 2 hours. What does Stan do for 2 hours while he's in the car?
You got to sit there and wait.
No, do you read a book? Do you got Kindle?
You pretty much.
Or do you just sit there?
I think most times you still got to stay awake, because you got to keep an eye out just in case anything else or someone tries to go in. So you pretty much got no time.
6ix9ine rock up to fucking Sofitel, jumps out. Hey, what are you doing? You should be out of jail. Hey, where's 50? Where's my dad at?
Like the only time you can read a book, or it's when you're back in your own hotel room. Like when you're with your client, you're on.
So people can understand this. Let's say 50 flies over. He's in Sydney for 4 days. Do you stay with him for them 4 days?
When he came over, he was here for 2 weeks.
Okay, so for the 2 weeks.
I was with him every single day.
So and does he organise the hotel? Are you next to him in the room next to him?
Yeah. We're in the same level. Because when he came down, he had his crew and another bodyguard, his own bodyguard from
The States.
From the US.
Did you get along with him?
Yeah, he was a great bloke. He was
Not like Chris Brown's one?
Nah, no, this guy was the man. He was down to earth and everything, so we got along pretty well. But
you find bodyguards are very close. I see it a lot on social media. Bodyguards are actually very close.
It's a small industry.
Yeah, they're very close to their
100%
artists.
small industry.
Nipsey Hussle's bodyguard, J-Rock,
Well, it's pretty much.
It's his life.
Pretty much, you got to trust that one person, because that one person is the one that's gonna get you out of shit when shit happens. So you're pretty much, your life is on their hand. So you can't just keep changing every time. So you keep changing, it's like you gotta reteach this guy how you're moving and what you're doing and stuff. So I think it's when they find one guard and they actually trust him with everything, that guard is the one that stays with them.
Now, I know we spoke about how at the start of your security career, that kind of had like troubles, that struggled with the relationship. How's it playing now that, let's say you have to do 2, 3 week, 4 week stints? Are you in that stage in your life where you and your partner were like, babe, I gotta go to work, this is what I gotta do? Sweet, do it.
Yeah, I think these days she's used to it and she knows what it's for and what we're trying to do, because I want to run my own business, my own security. Yeah, so...
Tell them about it.
Yeah, before this little bullcrap lockdown, I was about to start my own security company, but pretty much for more private clients, and I have a little gigs. I don't really like doing nightclubs. It's too much dramas, and I want to deal with one person and that's it. So...
People don't realise how much politics is actually in nightclubs.
Man, in security, there's a lot of there's a lot of shit in security. There's 1,000 companies just undercutting each other, and it's crazy. And they all pretend that they're friends, which is the funny part.
The one person, like you said, you get to know that person, that's it. I'm with you for 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Even if you got Sydney ones, because I know there's a lot of prominent people prominent people, CEOs and stuff, they actually have their own security teams and stuff like that. And that's where you're more leaning to.
Yeah.
And maybe if this podcast goes well...
Wait. If you need a bodyguard when you're
I don't think you're going to be
off.
around me. I don't think you're going to want to be around me, because truth be told, I have a feeling my partner in this is, once we get quite a few views, all of a sudden I'll get shot and the views skyrocket.
Well, I'm there, bro. I'm there 100%.
That's on camera, so that's on camera. So we know that if I get shot, let's just say there's going to be a whole Biggie Tupac conspiracy theory. Hey, bring it on. But
to be honest, bodyguarding is it's not a fun life, but you gotta love what you do. You gotta love protecting your client, and you just gotta love what you do. If you're there just for fun, and you think just because you're gonna meet celebs and go out partying and that, it doesn't happen like that. It definitely does not happen like that. When I was with 50, we went to one party, and 50 was at the hotel. It was just me and the crew, me and the other bodyguard and the crew. So you don't go out to much parties at all, unless they have a show. They're paid to get there.
Yeah, I don't think people realise they pretty much partied out from the start.
Yeah, like all the photos that we put out and stuff on our Instagram, there's parties and there's wild parties. It doesn't happen like that. 100% it doesn't happen.
That's just the one photo from 5 years ago that we just recycled constantly.
Yeah, so for people that wants to take this job up just for fun and go out and party and meet celebs, I wouldn't do it, because you will not last at all. 100% you will not last.
See, I always thought I'd be a good bodyguard, but then I realised I'm 5'11" and I've got a mouth on me, so...
And we hardly talk to our clients. Our clients hardly talk to us. All we've got to do is get them from point A to point B and get them back to point A.
Do they have that level of trust? But so for example, 50 comes over, he's here for 2 weeks, barely knows you, but he knows that 50, if you grab him, pull him back, he knows that.
I think
If
it's got to come from somebody's recommendation.
Yeah.
So I got recommended from somebody in his circle. So that was the good thing for me, because I'd done work with somebody that was working for him, and the drama was that his other bodyguard had problems with his visa, so he couldn't make it. So he asked the guy that I know from Australia if he knew somebody that works in the industry in Australia, that works for themselves, and they only deal with one person. Because sometimes the client doesn't want to deal with a whole company where you make phone calls to different people.
You just have to call that person directly.
Just call that one person, and that's it.
Done.
That's all it is. So if you have a good name, it goes a long way. But it's a small industry. You fuck up once.
Yeah, obviously.
I think that's.
I mean, a fuck up in your industry is a fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if someone gets like, someone fucks up in your industry, that's
you're pretty
life
much
or
gone.
death.
It's pretty much find a new.
You have someone's life in your hands essentially.
100%. And sometimes you just gotta put your life aside. You gotta learn to put your life aside, and their life is number one priority.
I'm guessing you've always had that protective nature, but from football, you know, are you protective like that with your kids?
Or you can try and hurt one of my kids and find out.
You think I'm stupid? But in a sense, like, you know what I mean? Like, because you can be a protective parent, or you can be the parent, like, you'll be protective, but you also, like we talked about, let them go through their life experiences.
I would, yeah, in a way. The thing is, I've been through that road.
Yeah.
And for my son or my daughter to go, especially my daughter, to go out clubbing and that, daughter is 100% different. I've told her that, because she's 10 years old now, my oldest daughter.
Has she accepted that she's not allowed a boyfriend?
She's asked to have boyfriends. Oh. She's already asked at 10 years old that she's going to have a boyfriend.
Where'd you marry them?
And I've told her you got no chance until you're 30. So, and she's asked to go, like kids, they see things on TV and they're going, oh, I want to go parties, and I said, yeah, sweet, you can go party, but you do know what I do, and I know every single security guard at every club, so it's good for you.
Have fun.
That's my protection for my kids, like security
You'd feel good because they're like really. Essentially, young kids, until we get that emotional intelligence where we can carry ourselves and your parents are confident. They only go to clubs.
Yeah.
Your kids, you're like Big Brother. Like, it's shocked us. See, what are you doing here tonight? I was just looking at the cameras. Look at something.
Man, clubs are different to back when we grew up.
It's safer.
It's safer. I don't know. I reckon back then it was more safer.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Because everybody had each other's back then. And everywhere in the cross we walked, we knew every single guard at every door. And if anything happens, and like different companies, we all worked for different companies.
I reckon I'm talking from like the actual, the patrons point of view. I reckon it's safer for patrons now than it was back then.
I reckon.
Yeah?
I think back then people had more respect for that area, and they knew what was going on in it.
So I think now people, again, it comes down to, like, people don't want to get caught, people don't want to do anything stupid because of cameras, people don't want to do anything stupid because, the backlash of political stuff. Not political, like I'm talking straight politics.
For me, in doing security and that, back then we all looked after each other. Even the patrons and that, we all had that respect for each other and that. We had a few that didn't give a shit in that, but you sort that out pretty quick. But these days, I think it comes with laws as well. Like, you can't do shit. So if something happens to you, you can't do nothing about it. It's like, there's no protection for anyone these days. So if somebody gets hit in the club, you're fucked.
Now, even though you said you're not violent, I have to ask you because I wrote it down. So, you know who Vin Diesel is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vin Diesel was he did security. And he had this scene, I don't know what movie it is, but he had this scene where he said, I've had 500 fights. What's your number?
To be honest, I haven't had that many fights at all.
Nah.
I've had arguments and that. I've had probably 3 or 4 fights
In 11 years?
in 11, 12 years.
I seen more than you, and I did less.
And I think that was a good thing for me that
Yeah.
I developed and I knew how to talk myself out. Which some guys these days, they think that, I think some people got the wrong idea about security guards. That we're big guys, we're there to fight, no matter what.
No.
We don't give a shit about talking, we're there to punch on. And it's not the way. Like these days, you gotta know how to pretty much talk. Because you gotta talk your way out of it, everything. And that's gonna keep you
Now I know.
with your license.
I know. That's actually that's one of the things I actually wanted to touch on. That's kind of where that, and also selling vibrators, but that working at clubs actually taught me how to really like talk to, because you know, a nightclub, you get every different range of character. Do you feel like that influence had a heavy impact on you being able to talk to people?
100%.
In terms of business, in terms of protection, and I know we were talking before about youth. 'Cause I know you want to get into youth work.
Before I went into security and that, I was a shy kid. I would not talk to no one at all. And I just didn't have that confidence to talk. Because when I was growing up as a kid, not knowing English, I used to get teased about saying the wrong word and the wrong pronouncing it the wrong way. And that stuck with me growing up. And I just never wanted to talk to people. I just wanted to go in there, do my job and leave. And that's it. Don't talk to no one. Just as long as I do my job, I'm sweet. So, yeah. But now
it's like, no, you're not very talkative now. You're right, you're not that talkative. Now, I've been to one of your fights. Talk to me about fighting. I know you said not. Before when I asked you, we're talking street fights. Now we're talking actual fights. Actually, that's when I saw your uncle there once.
your best friend.
Oh, fuck. Mate, so imagine being me, working clubs, you hear all the stories about John Ibrahim, Tongan Stan and all that. You go to a fight night in Punch Bowl where there was all legitimate characters everywhere, and then I'm in the bathroom, off my face, and I just see this fucking tall, scary looking Tongan guy in a fucking
Trench coat.
in a fucking trench coat down here, and I'm like, I looked at him, I knew exactly who it was. I was scared, and I just get this cute little smile, and I'm like,
That's all it takes to be your best friend.
bro, I swear to God. I walked outside, I go back to the thing, I was like this brand new confidence. I walked out of there, and I'm like, I walked to the key, I'm like, Key, you won't believe who I'm best mates with. Probably get a phone call for this, but I'm like, Key, you won't believe who I'm best mates with. He's like, who? I'm like, Tongan Stan. He smiled at me in the bathroom. We're like brothers now. See, we're family.
That's all you do, guys. Be his best mate, give him a smile.
We're family. He smiled at because I'm thinking, oh, this guy's scary. Gives me this little smile. I'm like, that's it, we're brothers. We're family now. I'm pretty much Tongan, off a mate. I'm half Tongan now.
I think that's the whole problem is,
Again, it comes to the media perception.
yeah, and other people's stories. It's sometimes you gotta experience that for yourself.
We're brothers now.
And
He just doesn't know it, but we're brothers.
I think most people are just, always living on somebody else's story. And I think that's the problem these days. We need to get our own story right, get our own facts, and that's it. And go with that.
And, yeah, true. But the story of you fighting, do you still fight? Because I know, look, I know you
I want to, but
How many did you win, how many did you lose?
I lost all 3.
Okay. Now, losing all 3, how'd you go from losing all 3 to be like, you know what, fuck, I want to go again? Because not many people do that, and like, props to you. And that's, to be honest with you, that's the one thing that I said I'm not going to do on these shows, to sit there and constantly say, yeah, congratulations, yeah, you're good. But honestly, to go from that to, 3 losses and be like, yeah, who's next, like, that takes a lot of courage. And like, I'm not going to say it's easy to get in the ring, but to get in the ring...
Definitely not easy.
No.
Definitely not easy.
I got a boxing coach and he says, do you want to spar? No, thank you. I just did a little box size thing.
I think with me it was, I love the challenges.
Yeah.
And I love thing that drives me to push myself, to actually prove to myself or prove to other people that I will go in and do it and do what I say. And fighting, I was never going into the fights to win. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't that wasn't the thing that drove me to go into the ring. Well, the first thing that happened was it's a funny story.
Mate.
It was a workmate of mine. He was doing MMA and he won his first 3 fights. And he used to come to work and talk himself up. And me, I hate talking myself up or talk like people talking themselves up or anything. And just be humble. I like people to be humble and just help others. But this guy was coming over just talking himself up every single weekend. So I told him I've never been in a ring before ever. And so I told him, look, we're mates, we're workmates. Give me a few weeks, let me train. We'll get in the ring and just put on a show for everyone. And whoever wins, wins, and whoever loses, loses. And he goes, yeah, sweet. So a few weeks happened. He got drunk with a few of our other mates, workmates, and he made a video saying all this shit about me.
Calling me out?
Or not calling me out. He was going, they'll always try and start things and never finish.
Oh,
And
that was
I was
fuel.
always a beginner, like just a starter.
That's
I never
when
go
you
all
knew
the way.
he fucked up.
And he put it up on Facebook, and we both had the same friends in it, and everybody was sharing it. And so I came back the next weekend, and that really got to me. That I always try and start things and never finish, which in a way was true. I've started a lot of shit, and
Is that what got to you?
I think that's the main thing that got to me.
So it didn't get to you. It burnt you because you're like, fuck this man, he's telling the truth, and it made you have to face your reality.
To be honest, yeah, it was a big wake up call, and
Are you thankful for him for that now?
yeah, now I am.
Are you struggling
I
to
think
say
that,
it? Hey, you know what, but look, it takes.
To look at it now, it's true. He did open my eyes to shit that I've always started and never finished. And I think I never thought about it until now. Talking about it now is that he actually woke me up. And yeah, thanks to that. So that's what got me into fighting. I ended up coming back the next weekend and told him, give me the 3 months training, I'll knock you the fuck out. And that's when he backed off, and he started saying, I want money and that, put down money and stuff. And I went to the guys that I was working for at the time. I was looking after one of the owners and told him what he said. And the owner said, yeah, sweet, I'll put the money down. And it never happened. So, but I ended up training. So I thought to myself, fuck, I've already said that I'm going to get in the ring and I'm training my ass off. Why not?
But it's crazy, eh? But like you said, everything happens for
100%.
a reason, eh?
And you do, eventually you opens your eyes when you talk about the things that have happened and you realise.
When you're in the heart of the storm,
Yeah.
you're like, fuck this motherfucker,
Yeah.
fuck. But then after, when you, as a man, I think you learn, in the heart of the storm, you're like, fuck this, fuck this cunt. You know, in the thing, you're like, fuck this cunt. And then, or any situations. But then later on, you evolve and you're like, fuck. His actions and what he did at the time where I was like, fuck him, has put me on the path where I'm on now. So really, like you said, you're like, fuck, thank you.
100%.
And that's growth, but.
And I've pulled him up and told him, look, whatever happened between us in the past, that's the past. Let's move forward and let's be mates again.
Yeah, but
that's
if you want to get it, you can get it.
Like if it happens, it happens. Like I'm not going to back down.
I want to
Win or
know.
lose, I'm not going to back down.
I'm not offering you out, just know this. Just like this. But I just want to know, would you rather have a fight in the ring or would you rather have a fight in the street? Spontaneous.
Look, fighting on the street is easier.
Because of the adrenaline rush?
Adrenaline, and it's a one hit knockout.
Obviously, if you're versus me, I can understand that.
No, it's not that. You've got more chances on the outside of the ring. In the ring, you're by yourself, and you got your mates in there on the outside. So in the ring, you pretty much got to train your ass off. It's all technique. And my first fight, I was fucked. I was first.
Was that the one I was at?
Yeah.
Where I became best friends with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I threw the first 2 or 3 punches, and I was gone. I was gassed.
All cardio, eh?
It was all cardio. So the whole difference between, I prefer the challenge in the ring. Like I like fighting outside. It will be easier. Well, it's not easier. Don't try it. But it's
parental advisory. Please.
Don't try it at home.
Try this at home.
But it's a whole different area. If I don't know how to explain it.
I know what you mean. I think in the ring is more mental.
Yeah.
You have to like.
And you're fighting a guy that knows how to fight in the ring. When you're outside, you're pretty much fighting
People who say they know how to fight.
Yeah, and sometimes they're drunk. Like it's an unfair fight outside the ring. I like the outside. It's easier for me.
Because it's a tactical advantage.
Yeah, 100%. But I prefer the challenge. I prefer the ring. I wouldn't mind getting back in the ring, but
is it on the cards?
it is for me. But I gotta get permission from the big boss, from the wife.
I was going to say. What's her thoughts on it?
She's the one that's saying no. So
yeah, because you got fight cams, you got
it's hard for him.
Notice. I mean, it depends how proper you do. Do you do like no sex throughout the whole fight camp? Is that too personal? Maybe. I'm just asking. 'Cause I know that like, you build up for 12 weeks.
I don't believe in that shit, man.
Yeah? You know, it's scientifically proven. You know, in the first week that you don't masturbate, I can speak about this stuff, so I sell people anal toys. This stuff does not break me out. The first week that you actually don't masturbate, your testosterone goes up by 45%.
Shit.
You can tell that's why I got big muscles. What's next for Stan? What's next for you?
So the main thing I want to do is I want to build my own business and eventually grow that and eventually help youth, as you said that. I've always wanted to work with youth, especially island youth, because growing up on the island way, it's not easy at all. You've always got to do what you're told, and you got to walk that line that you've been shown by your parents or the elders. And I think these days, and we've all been told that islanders are only good for two things, which is sport, football, or muscle. And that's it, nothing else. You're not good for nothing else. That's what I was told back then. That the only thing I'm good at is football, and that's the only thing that I should go for. And which left me not going to school. And that's what I want to try and change that mentality, that island mentality of we're only good for one thing or two things, which is not true. Like islanders, if they have the drive, they always have the drive. Islanders have the drive. They just need somebody to lead them, to show them that they can do more than just football. And football is not going to always be there, man.
I mean,
like football players, they retire and then what? They got nothing.
Look what happened to you. You dedicated your whole early life to football and you pulled a
You get injured, you're gone, and you got nothing else to drop back on. And I think that's with island youth and that all they know is violence, and if there's no one to lead them, they'll go on the street and they start shit. And I think like they all pretty much just need someone to show them a different way, and that's what I eventually want to do long term. But I've got a few projects that I'm working at. Hopefully when this lockdown goes down, that I want to build my security business and help other guards to get jobs and hopefully give them extra training in security and bodyguarding, and eventually grow that worldwide hopefully, and then I can get the chance to help other youths.
I mean, look, man, to be honest with you, your story, like, I remember we were talking about it before, like, it's not, like, the whole reason we started this was, you know, to get people to pretty much say their whole truth, the conventional, people who go down the conventional route, people that don't go down the conventional route, you know, props to you, respect to you, you pretty much have laid it all out, you've been...
Man, to be honest, like...
If I was a youth, like, well, I'm a youth, but in comparison to you, even though you're 24, if I was a youth looking at this, all jokes aside, man, like, I would be like, fuck. I would really assess in my head the things that I've got in my inside that I'm scared to actually express, like we're talking about. And I'd be like, you know what? Fuck that. This thing on the podcast is like, life's short. He regrets it. he still lived a good life. Imagine, because again, everyone has to take those footsteps.
Yeah.
You know, and anyone who sees this video and sees you and hears your story and makes that change in them, that's their life path.
That's what I hope.
You know?
Like, my story is not different to most young island kids or other kids out there. So hopefully one day that like somebody watches it and go, fuck, that's me. I was always shit scared of speaking up or anything.
It's not just youth. I think it's any age.
Yeah, any age. Like, I just started. Like last year.
Can we talk about your actual age?
I'm 33, by the way.
Yes!
I'm 33.
I thought you were 24 this whole time.
I wish I was. So.
But you're still young. You know, you do know you're still young.
Look, it took me a while to actually speak up about this, and like with my family stuff, being adopted and that, I've never spoken to anyone about it until the end of last year. I actually, when I was going through my self-development, I ended up getting my own coach, and that's one thing I regret from back when I was growing up, is not asking for help. Like, people get help. It doesn't make you weak to speak up and to actually ask for help. And I think it makes you a bit stronger.
It's vulnerability, man.
Yeah, that's it. But I think, to me, one thing that I've learned from my coach, that when I had a coach, was doing things when it's uncomfortable. I think those little things that are uncomfortable is the main thing that you need to do to actually move forward. And I think most of us get to that little stage, goes, fuck this. It's too scary, it's too uncomfortable, people are going to judge me. I'm going to pull back.
That was me and you before we literally sat down.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
we were sitting in the kitchen and we were like...
Even this interview, man, like, when Q rang me and asked me, I didn't want to say yes. But straight away I thought to myself, fuck, that's what I've always been doing, is always saying no and being scared. So why not just say yes? Like, once I said yes, I hung up, I was shitting myself. I was shitting myself driving here.
Hey, let's talk about it, don't worry.
But I definitely don't regret coming here and doing this. So thanks for getting me here.
These, like, the first one's always the best, but like, yes is like...
Show me your first and mine.
You're my first. Don't think I'm sticking around. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. Stan, where can we find you? Instagram.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Eventually, I'm gonna have my own. I'm working on the website and that, and whatever has to be done with that business, and I will bring it out once it's done.
When do you let me know I'm gonna share it?
Everything will be on my Instagram. So my process with everything that I do, I always share it. I always share on my Instagram, which is Stan Tuanuku, or on Facebook, Stanley Tuanuku. I'm
new to this, but I see all the good-looking girls on YouTube do it, so it's gonna be right there. So this thing's gonna be right there. So yeah, with all the process that I'm gonna make and do, it's gonna be up on that. My man.
Thanks, bro.
Listen, when I do make it and I become a fucking multi-millionaire,
hey, I'm free, mate.
I'll hopefully have
not free.
Just so my future wife and your wife knows, I'll have a wife by then, so we're not gonna be doing any dumb shit. No hotel rooms, no naughty. But thank you guys for listening. I don't know where we're at with this stuff, but hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. Till next time.
Push forward.
Hey!
Thanks, bro.
Hey, that was